You gotta let me pull up the chat really quickly, and then we're fucking good to go. This isn't how I expect. To be honest, I didn't think that Charles Oliveira was gonna finish the fight as fast as he did. You give me 1 sec to just fucking delete the last one, and we're good to go. This one, get rid of this one. I didn't hit that fucking button. YouTube are fucking me today. Yeah, delete this shit forever. Bang. Okay, we should be good to go now. We should be good to go now on the correct one. I'm going to tweet it out. I'm going to do the link and all of that shit. I'll do it in a second. I can do it off my phone pretty easily. But yeah, post-event recap. I'm excited to start doing these post-event recaps again and to actually talk about fights again. Just purely because I miss the watch parties, but the watch parties also kind of fuck me. You know what I mean? Like, the watch parties, you have to literally kill your sleep schedule. Like, your sleep schedule has to be done for legitimately 3 weeks. I don't think people understand the process of doing the watch party because, like, you only see like the 6 hours or whatever, but you have to be like more than awake for those 6 hours. For most people, when you're watching UFC events, it doesn't really matter all that much how awake you are. You could be absolutely dead watching the main event. But for watch parties, you actually have to be awake for them because you have to actually talk through all of the stuff that's happening. So that's why we're doing post-event recaps, because it makes shit a little bit easier. What's good, Lennox? What's good, Abstracts? Topuria is so great. Topuria is mediocre. In my mind, Topuria is mediocre. I'm trolling. Obviously, Topuria pound number 1. What's good, Rito? I need to actually pull up the chat properly. Also, this is not the setup that you're going to see next week. At least something's gone gravely wrong. I'll be completely honest with you. This event ended a whole lot quicker than I thought it was going to end. Usually the events end at like 3 a.m. So I was kind of sitting downstairs at like 2 a.m. and I was like, yeah, no, I'll be fine. They'll wait a while. And then I realized it was a Charles main event. And I was like, holy fuck, this is going to be done inside like a round. So it's not going to look like this next week, or at least it shouldn't look like this next week. And I'm just excited to get back to being live with the boys, because I do miss the lives with the boys. You know what I mean? Like, videos are great and all, and comments on videos are great, but you don't get that like one-to-one live fucking connection that I get when I'm actually live talking to the boys. I'm hyped for Charles Oliveira getting a win. I'm happy that Charles Oliveira get it done, because to watch him lose in his own hometown would have been rough. I thought he was coming back too early. I was one of the like original people, the purveyors of like I don't know about this. I hate him coming back early. But he looked fantastic. Bear in mind, he did get a great matchup to come back early, because I do say that, like, coming back early is one thing, but it's who you're coming back early against. When you see Volkanovski get KO'd and 3 months later, he's like, yeah, let's do Ilia Topuria. You're like, oh no, don't do that. Don't do that at all. And then you see Bryce Mitchell get KO'd by Josh Emmett, take 13 months off and come back to Kron Gracie. And you're like, yeah, okay, I think you're going to be fine. That's essentially giving him 15 months to come back. So it does depend who you're coming back against. And Mateusz Gamrot didn't really pose that much of a threat today in terms of the striking. He never really does. But this was like a motivated Charles. This was like a peak Charles. This was Charles where you're looking at him and you're going like, holy fuck, like this Charles is different. Charles went out there with the only intent was to kill today. Let me pull up the chat for the boys, because I can see like half the chat, but I can't see it properly. Bang, here we go. Like, this was like looking for. Also, YouTube have a new like layout that they're doing. I don't fuck with it. I don't like it at all. Charles wrestling looked very good in that fight. Charles wrestling is really good. They're like, wrestling and Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu aren't the same by any means, but they're kind of mixed. Like, there's very few elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu artists that aren't good at wrestling. What's good, Micah? I have exams like 2 weeks, but next day will be 4 days, but I'm still excited to watch it. If you're going to stream next week, I'm going to stream next week. I'm going to try to stream, because like the one I don't like, I was saying this at the start of the stream, but a lot of people probably missed it because I was fucking just yapping for the first 30 seconds. I love chilling with the boys, and I love watching fights with the boys. I hate the fucking time that the watch parties are at, because like the watch parties, you essentially have to change your entire life for that like week and a bit to have the watch party go off so you can be energetic for the entire watch party. Because it's not just about it's not just about staying awake till 6 a.m. You also have to make a video after, at least for me. So that's staying awake like for the entire next day. So then you're going, okay, well, I can't do all of that stuff that I need to do on no sleep. Like, I can, some fucking added up, coked up guys probably can, but I can't do that shit. So I have to like wake up at 9 p.m. And if you're waking up at 9 p.m. for an entire week, that's just like completely fucking your life. So I'm excited to do these, and I think these should be fun because I still do get to talk to the boys. So hyped for Charles getting the win. I think that I like this, but I don't like this. I'll be real. I don't like Charles getting a win this quickly. I think it sets a dangerous precedent. Because who does Charles Oliveira go up against next? Who are they going to give Charles next now that he's beaten Mateusz Gamrot and beat him pretty dominantly, if we're being real? Like, he has to get, what, like a top 5 guy, a top 4 guy? For Charles, he's thinking, like, it's a ticking clock situation. I'm not getting better. I'm only getting worse. So are we going to see Charles go up against, like, I don't know, maybe like Paddy Pimblett, I feel like, is the ideal matchup. Do I want to see Charles against Gaethje again? Who is Charles going to actually go up against that makes sense for the UFC, where they're like, this will sell, this could be a co-main event, because that's where Charles is at. Maybe you give him the Arman rematch, but Arman's already booked. I don't know who Charles goes up against next. I'm actually interested to hear what the boys think. What do the boys think? Who's Charles Oliveira's next fight? Actually predicted it, Charles via sub. Charles via sub. I wonder what the odds were like pre-fight. I actually didn't look at the odds pre-fight. I wonder what the odds were like pre-fight, because I presume Charles must have been at least a decently heavy favorite. I'll not stand here, Charles unwashed in the same sentence ever again. I think Charles is like one of those fighters that won't become washed. Like, I don't think he'll end on like a 4 or 5 win streak, but I think we could see like him go 2 or 3 losses in a row, and then maybe he'll get one back against some scrub, because like your Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu is like power. It just doesn't leave. Like, there's 60-year-old black belts that you see rolling around, and you're like, yeah, that guy's still legit, you know what I mean? Like, that guy's still really, really good. And we got to see Charles's Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and his guard on, like, full show today. Like, his guard was unbelievable. Max versus Paddy, I think that's what we're going to see. Like, the problem is every single matchup that Ilia is going to have, apart from the Paddy Pimblett one, is going to be, like, a rematch or the convincing ones. Arman's the number 1 guy, but Dana doesn't want to do that, and Dana and Sean Shelby, those guys are the ones that make fights. So Arman is obviously the number 1 choice, the obvious choice, but it just seems like they don't want to do the Arman fight. So then you look at who could the other fights be? Charles rematch, that's not convincing. Max rematch, that's a little bit more convincing, but it's still not convincing. And they're the guys at 55. Like, if you don't want to do Arman, who I feel like is super, super obvious to do, then it's Paddy, and I feel like Paddy just straight up doesn't deserve it. I think I want him to fight Diego Lopez. What, Diego Lopez moves up to 55? That would be a sick fight. Like, I'm all in on that fight, for sure. Or move up to welterweight and fight Joaquin Buckley. If he goes up to welterweight, I think he's in an even worse situation. Because welterweight only has killers. Like, there's no bad fighter at welterweight. There's literally none. It's like, inside of that, like, top 10, at least when you look at 155's top 10, you can look at guys and you're like, Moicano's in there, Beneil Dariush is in there. Like, there's a few guys at 155 where you're like, that's an easy fight. That's a free fight for someone of Charles's caliber. At 170, you go through the top 10 and you're like, yeah, everybody here is a killer. Everybody here is top 5, top 3 in every other division. So I kind of don't want to see him go up to 170, even though I think it could be fun potentially. Let me tweet out the stream and do everything that I actually need to do. I forgot to do it earlier. Problem is I have to do it on my phone right now. I changed around my entire room. You know when you get in one of those like spring cleaning moods where you're like, fuck it, we're changing everything. So I changed around pretty much my entire room's layout, which is why you see behind me doesn't usually look like what it does behind me. And I had an entire setup over there that was set up. You saw in like the video I put up, the top 50 video I put up on this channel. But it kind of fucked me. Because I was like halfway doing it, and then I was like, oh shit, wait, I've got to actually go live for this at the end. I appreciate the membership, brother. I appreciate it a ton. Welcome to level 1, got the white belt. You'll progress pretty soon. You seem like a fast progressor. Charmaine, I'm pretty sure is that black belt now? At least brown or black belt. What's good, IRR, brother? How are you? But yeah, going on to the co-main event. The co-main event was pretty shit, if I'm being honest with you. It's one of those fights where Figueiredo gets a win. But does Figueiredo's stock increase? Is Figueiredo going to get a much better fight because of that? I truly don't think he is. Like, I can't see Figueiredo being like a top 10 or he's a top 10. I can't see Figueiredo being like a top 5 or a top 3 or Figueiredo against Merab type of shouts after that performance. I just didn't think it was that good. And for Montel Jackson, I literally just thought the moment was too big for him. You know, I've been watching a ton of the NFL of college football recently. One of the big things that they talk about when you bring like a rookie in, when you bring someone who it's first year in the NFL is the moment too big for him? I kind of just thought that the moment was too big for him. I thought that Montel Jackson just simply was not ready for that level of competition. And 135, if I'm being completely honest with you, if you're not ready for Deiveson Figueiredo, you're definitely not ready for Sean O'Malley. You're definitely not ready for the Merabs, for the Umars, for the Piotr Jans, because Deiveson Figueiredo is kind of in that maybe B tier. If you're talking about S as in Merab, probably in a tier of his own, and then you're going A, Sean O'Malley, Umar, Piotr Jan. like maybe Figueiredo's in that B tier, and you look like you weren't ready for Figueiredo. So I just don't know how long we can wait from, especially considering how stacked 135 is. Like 135 is another division that's just stacked to the brim with prospects. Pantoja versus Van was leaked during UFC Rio. Should be a top tier fight. It should be elite in December too. That's the type of fight where I legit think like 125. If we want to bring back 125, have that as a co-main. That is a legit co-main for any card. For any card in the UFC, that's a legit co-main. Figgy did the minimum is pretty shit. I thought Figgy was good in round 1 too. Like when I was watching Figgy in round 1, I was like, ooh, Figgy looks dangerous in round 1. Like Figgy could finish him here. Figgy doesn't look bad. But then you kind of... Like the round 2, he was passive at best. And then the round 3, I thought the split decision was wrong. But can I fault a judge for giving a split decision? I thought that neither guy actually deserved to win the fight. Like if we're just looking at a fight that maybe not on the scorecard should have been a draw, but in terms of like when you look at one of those fan voting websites, I'd label that fight as a draw. Like neither of those guys really wanted to win that fight. Neither of those guys actually went out there and was like, wow, he's the guy. He's much better. Max versus Oliveira for the BMF. What do you think? Love it. Love it. I hated the BMF at the start because I think it, and I still do think like the BMF is a bullshit belt. Don't let anybody fool you. Don't let anybody say anything different to you. The BMF is a completely bullshit belt, but it's just kind of a way for Dana White to go, listen, this is going to be a fucking sick fight. This is going to be a fucking elite fight. And I'm kind of ready for that. I'm kind of here for that. I would rather him... one of the things that I do want with like BMF fights is that we don't do like a BMF fun CTE fight. We do BMF events. Make all of the... Because I don't mind. I don't like them not having undisputed title fights on BMF title fights with where they are currently. With where they are currently, I don't like that. Listen, if you're to change it and go, we're not doing BMF fights, we're doing BMF events, where every single fight you can think is going to be a scrapper, every single fight is going to be sick, then I'm all here for that. I'm all here for that. I want Khamzat versus Rene de Ridder or Imavov at UFC 323. Thing about Khamzat Chimaev is that he just doesn't fight that often. Like, Khamzat Chimaev just straight up does not fight that often. One, because he's kind of under the rule of a dictator, but also because he has injuries. And his training camps are so crazy that when he's getting in there, like, you're only seeing him once every 6, once every 8 months, because that's all his body can handle. The way that he trains going into fight camps, if you ever hear like Darren Till or any of those guys talk about it, it's like the guy just doesn't stop. He just trains 2 times a day, 3 times a day, 4 times a day. So your body can actually only take that. So if he fights every 6 months, he's going to get injured. It's bullshit, but every fight was a banger. But it's bullshit. It is bullshit, but every fight was a banger. I presume you're talking about the BMF. You can't ignore that. Yeah, all the BMF fights are sick, which is why I'm like, yeah, might be bullshit. Yeah, everybody's kind of saying that like it's a fraudulent belt, which it is. But it's essentially Dana just being like, we want to put on 6 fights, and I'm all here for that. Have you seen that fight UFC posted on YouTube for the Contender Series? I've kind of got a hot take about that fight. Because I was watching that fight when it happened, and it was like Tuesday, and I was like, fuck it, let me just whack on Contender Series, put it on in the background. That fight, I think, is a little bit overrated. I thought the round 1 was good. The end of the round 1 was elite. Round 2 was really, really good. But for people to be talking about that, like, that's the greatest UFC fight ever, that's one of the best UFC fights I've ever seen, dare I say it, don't even think it's the best Contender Series fight I've ever seen. I think Oban Elliott on the Contender Series, I think that fight was actually better. John Pork in the UFC, bro, that John Pork meme, that is so fucking good, bro. Because the way that Islam Makhachev says it literally sounds exactly like John Pork. Like, I had no idea that his nickname was Chanko or whatever the fuck it is, because John Pork just sounds so much better. I feel like he should run with the John Pork narrative too. I feel like the John Pork narrative is like, most Dagestani guys, it literally takes them 10, 11, 12 fights to get their title shot when they probably deserve it after 6, just because they don't have personality, just because they don't have a fan base, something going for them. If I was him, I'd just be like, yeah, fuck it, let's do John Pork, fuck it, why not? Oldberg versus Yuri, interim title in UFC 323, probably. Dana said multiple times that he doesn't want Alex Pereira to move up to heavyweight. I think he has to. The problem for Dana White is that he not only has one shit division, he has 2 shit divisions, and they're lined up right beside each other. If he only had one shit division in like heavyweight, or even if he had 2 shit divisions and it was like 125 sucks and heavyweight sucks, it wouldn't be as big of a deal. The problem for him is that you don't want to send light heavyweight talent up to heavyweight, because then it's like, okay, well, fuck, now we've got nobody at light heavyweight. And you also can't send heavyweight talent down because heavyweight has nobody. Then, like, what are you going to do? Promote 185ers? Tell 185ers to go up to 205? That's kind of the only solution, is to just keep pumping people up. But with those two shit divisions back to back, if you take Alex Pereira and put him to heavyweight, which you need to do because Tom Aspinall has literally no other contenders, you ruin the 205 pound division. But if you don't do that, you ruin the heavyweight division. So it's which division do you actually want to ruin? He's a Muslim, though. Probably change it to Janko. To be fair, he's going to be John Pork forever. Like, John Pork is literally going to be him forever. Technically overrated for sure. It was exciting that there was zero defense on display. Yeah, it was just like a BMF, fucking like scrap fight, which I'm all here for. It was a full-on brawl after round one, not all skills on display type of fight. Yeah, it's one of those ones where Dana White will probably... I can't remember if Dana White actually did give both of them contracts. I'm pretty sure he did. But that's the type of one where that happens, both go 0-3 in the UFC, and they're both like cut pretty much immediately. Yuri drop down to middleweight and fight Fluffy would be fun. 205 needs to keep all the talent that they have, to be honest. 205 cannot let anybody go. If 205 let fighters go down to 185 instead of going up to heavyweight, they're absolutely finished. Like, they're absolutely finished. John Pork won't die. It won't. Like, bro, he's going to get a KO round one of whoever the fuck he's fighting. They're going to give him a can. He's going to be minus 700. He's going to get a KO, and the entire crowd is going to be chanting John Pork, John Pork, John Pork, which is fucking crazy because he's keeping the John Pork meme alive. Like, he is keeping the John Pork meme alive. Rufi versus Janko. Let's hold on a minute now. I thought that Rufi was overrated. In fact, kind of one of my better takes of like the last while is calling the entire Fighting Nerds team overrated, where I was like, Caio Bravo probably is the most potential, but can he be UFC champion? I don't really think so. I still think that Mauricio Rufi would smoke him. I still think that Mauricio Rufi would smoke him. Both got contract and he gave 25k to each of them. Bro, it's crazy how the fucking UFC pay structure works. Like, the more that you watch other sports and you see contracts that get tossed out in other sports and you see what the UFC contracts look like, you're like, this is fucking insane. Like, quarterbacks in the NFL, and the NFL is kind of completely different just because, like, it's so much bigger than the UFC, it's not even close. But, like, bro, NFL quarterbacks are getting paid $50 million a year. Like, the top 1% in every sport. NBA, like, the top 1% in the NBA is getting paid $80 million a year. And Dana White was like, I'm going to give you 25k. And the UFC fighter's like, what? What? He gave us 25k. He gave us 25k. That's fucking unbelievable. Wow, Dana White, you're one of the nicest people ever. Like, 25k to Dana White as a billionaire is like €2.50 to me. That's literally what it is. Like, what is 25k for a billionaire compared to like 1,000 for me? It's it's insane. It's probably like I gave someone 25 cents. And they're freaking out about it as if he's unbelievable. How do you feel about the Jake Paul versus Tank Davis fight? I think it's either Jake Paul via KO or Tank via split decision. One of the weird things about this Jake Paul Tank Davis fight, I looked at the odds. I fully expected to see Conor McGregor Floyd Mayweather odds, where it's like, listen, Tank Davis is a minus 1,200. He's going to go out there. He's going to KO him. The only way to make money on the fight is if you can just kind of predict which round Jake Paul gets KO'd. Hold on a minute now. Fight's nearly pick 'em. This is nearly a pick 'em fight. And I feel like a lot of people are going to get their like heads turned around. They're like, okay, whoa. There's just different levels. There's just different levels. The way that I can describe it, the easiest way for me to describe it is just go to Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, because that's what I do, what I know best. There's black belts, and then there's competition black belts. You know what I mean? There's guys that compete at black belt. That's kind of how I'm looking at this fight. A 200-pound black belt is good. Like, really, really good. Don't get me wrong. I think Jake Paul is really, really good as a boxer. I think he's elite as a boxer. But then you start to get to, like, a world champion. 135er. Like, we saw what Demetrius Johnson did at 125 to that fucking 300-pound guy. And DJ's not even close to being the best black belt on the planet in the gi. DJ's not even in top 50 guys. DJ's not even top 100 guys. I think that, like, I think that's going to be brutal. I think Tank Davis is going to knock him out with a body shot. It's not even going to be close. Max Holloway versus Derek Lewis, BMF title White House. I think that's probably where we see the BMF title next. I did see that event's on a Sunday, which it's like, bro, this Like, I hate to get into politics because politics doesn't belong in MMA at all. It doesn't belong in fucking anything. But, bro, like, the drum dick riding is insane, bro. Like, can we just put the event on a Saturday for me, please? A Sunday? A Sunday? Really? A 6 a.m. event on a Sunday? Like, what the fuck are we doing, man? What are we doing? Put the event on a fucking Saturday. I don't care if the guy's birthday's on a Sunday. You know what you can even do? Make the event maybe like a tiny bit later, 30 minutes later, and before the main event, because the main event's going to start at 6 a.m., you can have like fireworks go off and a big fucking thing draped down being like, happy birthday. You don't need to do it on his birthday. You can just have it roll over into his birthday. Yeah, that's cool, but I predicted Oliveira versus Gamrot down to the half round. Damn, what the fuck? That's pretty dope. I was happy for Aldo tonight. Was not expecting that. Yeah, the Aldo retirement, like, I was kind of happy he did it in Brazil, but it was just kind of weird. Like, it was almost out of place for me, where it was like, okay, we kind of all knew he was retired or thought he was retired after his last fight, but I'm happy he gets the appreciation from the crowd. I'm happy he gets to do one last walkout. So yeah, at least it's somewhat cool for Jose Aldo to be like, yeah, we got it done. There's also some of the shit that happened in the event tonight, like some of the worst refereeing decisions you're ever going to see. I don't know what the fuck was going on in that Vicente Luque fight. Like, I literally have no idea. Like, everyone that I see on Twitter was like, that's a TKO. You can't just call a timeout in the middle of a fight. That's just not how it works, especially if you don't get hit with an illegal shot. You can't just be like, timeout, and then not fight after that. And then you have one of the stoppages that I saw earlier was one of the worst stoppages I've ever seen. Like 30 seconds of the guy being fully out, and he's just like, no, yeah, you can kill that guy. We're going to the death now. It's in Rio. It's not in the US. We don't need a commission. You're going to the death. You're going to have to kill that man for me to stop it. And it was like, whoa, can we fucking chill out here a little bit? Holy shit. They're going to do boxification of that White House card for sure. Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised, honestly. I wouldn't be surprised if Dana does throw a boxing fight on it. I think that boxing and UFC combination is coming a lot quicker than people think. And I think the only thing that's throwing me off about it, the only reason why I don't think it's going to come as fast as people think, is I don't know how long that DAZN deal is with boxing. And the Saudis kind of own DAZN anyway. I know they own a big portion of DAZN, because I was trying to email the guy that runs DAZN earlier. I was trying to find the CEO's email to be like, yo, we need a multi-stream thing for college football to have it for the NFL. You can watch 4 games at once, all like on different screens. They don't have it for college football, so I was going to email them. Then I found out they're owned by the fucking Saudis. Like, they're owned by the Saudi investment fund. So they own that. The UFC are at Paramount. If boxing and that, like, Zuffa boxing thing, if that goes over to Paramount, there's just no way that it doesn't happen where the UFC and boxing crossover. Thank God Oliveira won, or there could have been riots. Yeah, I don't love the Brazilian crowd. Like, the Brazilian crowd are sick if their fighter wins. If their fighter loses, they're like, fuck this. Like, we're done. We don't give a fuck anymore. You know what we're going to do? We're going to boo the other fighter. We're going to throw shit at the other fighter. It's like, damn. UFC should make Payton Talbot versus Malcolm Wellmaker UFC 323. How do you feel about it? Hold on a minute. Is that Payton Talbot in Gay Pride Month? Is that Payton Talbot once again in Pride Month? The Pride Month merchant coming back? Because I'm not going to lie. The Payton Talbot that I saw fight Raoni Barcelos outside of Pride Month did not look the same as the one that we saw fight in Pride Month in his last fight. There was a serious change. And although he may not have come out and officially confirmed that he's gay, we know he's gay. Who are you lying to, brother? Like, it's one of those things where if he came out and said he was straight, I'd be like, holy fuck. Did not see that one coming. The guy in Pride Month is a problem. Not that I have any problem with him being gay or anything, by the way. I really don't care. But the guy in Pride Month is a problem. Like, he jumps up about 15, like, he jumps up maybe 25 spots in the rankings in that month alone. He's that good in that month. You look back at those performances, bro. Like, 3 of them are in June. The guy's fucking unbelievable in June. He's got something pushing behind him. Not the Pride hype again. I'm not following this shit again. I promise you, brother, the guy's different. I've never seen anybody like him in Pride Month. I've never seen a 1 month boost for people like there is for him in Pride Month. Like, I just don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense. Sure you don't care, big dog? I actually really don't give a fuck. There's something that, once again, we're not getting back into politics. There's something that I give a fuck about. I'm not going to go along the Luke Thomas lines. I also saw some guy on Twitter. This fucking made me crack up on Twitter midweek. I was scrolling my timeline and I just see some guy being like, oh yeah, I know that I'm a leftist MMA content creator and that's going to stop me from, you know, growing in this space, but I don't want any of those bigots to follow me. And I was like, what are we doing, bruh? Let's get this shit out of the UFC. Let's go back to fights. That's all we care about is fights and like good fighters. That's it. That's all we care about. But going back to Charles and Mateusz Gamrot. What happens to Mateusz Gamrot right now? It kind of always happens to the fighter and it kind of always fucks over the fighter. And I hate that it does, but it's just how the UFC works, where people aren't going to look at Mateusz Gamrot coming in short notice and be like, hold on a minute, let's cool our horses on Mateusz Gamrot being dog shit because this was short notice. And people are going to just look at it as a loss. People are just going to look at it as saying, like, that's a loss in 3 weeks, which is why I always hate, like, robberies and stuff like that, because in 3 years, in 5 years, in 7 years, people are not going to look at it and remember that was a robbery. People are just going to look at it and see he won, he lost. So I think that there does need to be some more context. And Mateusz Gamrot is like a dying breed inside the UFC of guys who are only good against one matchup. Mateusz Gamrot could go out there and beat Islam Makhachev. Call me fucking crazy. Mateusz Gamrot could go out there and beat Islam Makhachev. He could go out there and beat Arman Tsarukyan. But he probably isn't going to go out there and beat any striker. Anybody that can strike at all, anybody that has any kind of finishing threat, he's not going to beat them. Like, he's just not going to beat guys like that. I think that Mateusz Gamrot can beat all of the wrestlers because he is that good at wrestling. But as soon as he goes up against somebody that isn't a wrestler, as soon as he goes up against somebody that has a different A game, because when you look at Mateusz Gamrot and the wrestling and his A game, it's as good as anybody else's A game that's wrestling. You know what I mean? Like, he's as good of a wrestler as you're going to see inside the UFC. But the problem is when he goes up against a striker, he's not good against a striker. Whereas Islam Makhachev might be a tiny bit worse, or he's on the same level as Mateusz Gamrot when it comes to wrestling, but he's so much better at dealing with strikers. He's so much better at striking. He's so much better at finishing power, so much better at implementing wrestling against strikers that that's what makes him the pound for pound number one. And that's what makes Mateusz Gamrot maybe he's top 10 after this fight. Who knows? He could be like 13th, 14th, 15th. And BSD against Gamrot again. I don't really want to see that fight again, to be honest with you. Like, Benoit Saint-Denis is someone that we should just put in a BMF category. Let's give Benoit Saint-Denis fun fights, because I don't know what he is. I I watch him against Moicano, I go, he's not going to lose against Moicano. Like, he's just not going to lose against Moicano. He's too good. He's too talented. He loses against Moicano. I watch him in his next fight, and I'm like, is he back? Like, can he only fight in France? I have zero idea what to think about Benoit Saint-Denis. He confuses the shit out of me. If you watch the first 1.5 rounds against Dustin Poirier, you think he's a world champion right now. You think that he's already beaten Islam Makhachev. You think he's pound for pound number one right now. But then you watch all of the other shit, and you're like, bro, what the fuck is going on here? Like, this guy, like, it just doesn't make any sense what he does. All this shit just doesn't make any sense. Thought Charles was going to lose when he was being passive-aggressive during the face-off. He looks nervous. I've kind of learned to stop judging and reading into that because it just doesn't make any sense ever. Like, a lot of the time I look at it and I go, Charles Oliveira looks nervous. And he goes out there and finishes him round one. I see a guy like Magomed Ankalaev or Alex Pereira, one of these guys, or Yuri or Khalil, and I'm like, wow, he looks super confident. He looks ready to go. And the guy's going to get sparked. So I think the way to look at it is just they're both nervous. Unless it's Ilia Topuria or Conor McGregor or one of those guys that just has like innate confidence where it's like, that guy's just got aura. Like that guy just believes he's going to win. Had to change from my alt to my main account to watch you. I appreciate it. Lightweight is the division that just feels weird. Lightweight's in a weird spot. It's in a weird spot. Because, listen, there's a real chance Ilia at lightweight like racks up 4 defenses, 5 defenses. Could he beat Tsarukyan? Yes. If they give him a Max Holloway rematch, would he be favored heavily? Yes. Don't give the guy Paddy Pimblett. Who else is there? Who else do you want to give him? What other matchups can you give him? I think that the way that, like, maybe Islam Makhachev comes back down, and I could definitely see him losing to Islam Makhachev, but I hate when fighters go up and come back down, so I could see him KOing Islam Makhachev. Like, 155, I literally don't know who beats Ilia there. I think 155 could become a barren division pretty quickly, just because there's not that much top-tier talent. There's a lot of A-tier talent. There's not a lot of S-tier talent. Otherwise, you wouldn't see Justin Gaethje being tossed in these conversations. You wouldn't see guys that are clearly past their prime still in conversations around titles. Ilia's only threat feels like Armin, and Armin can beat him. But that's one guy that you think might be able to beat him. At 135, although Merab does look super dominant, and he is super dominant, when you look around at it, you're like, listen, there's 7 or 8 guys that, well, not 7 or 8, that was fucking insane. There's like 2 or 3 guys there. Like, if Sean O'Malley KO'd Merab Valashvili, he wouldn't be a favorite. Would I be unbelievably surprised? No. If Umar went back in there and beat Merab Valashvili, which I'd pick him to do, would I be surprised? No. If Petr Yan beat him, I'd be surprised. I'm not going to lie to you, I'd be very surprised. If Song Yadong beat him, I'd be very surprised. But within the next 1 or 2 years, with the amount of talent that's in that division, I don't think it's crazy to say that there's 3 or 4 guys at 135 right now that could beat him. When you look at even the prospects that 155 has right now, there's not a ton. Like, there's not a ton that 155 has that are super, super convincing. We had some of them fight today. I thought they looked okay. I didn't think that they looked fantastic. And then, like, a lot of the prospects at 155 is, once again, I look at the thing of, could be top 15 guys, could be top 10 guys, could even be top 3 guys. Do I see anybody coming up at 155 where I'm like, that guy could be a champion? No. Umar could do it. That's it. I think in a rematch, Umar beats him. I truly do think in a rematch, Umar beats him. I love Umar in that rematch. And Umar's going to come in as a heavy underdog, and I'm going to bet the shit out of Umar. I promise you, I'm going to put a lot of money on Umar. Hot take, Islam is not coming back to 155 if he wins. I don't think he should. I think that Umar, like, Islam's almost in that John Jones territory where it's like, we're doing shit for legacy. We're doing shit to see what gets me the most plaudits for my legacy. The Ilia fight does kind of get it, but, like, if he beats Ilia's resume can kind of be deconstructed pretty quickly. Especially if he takes 1 or 2 losses in a row. You could see the narrative go very fast from Ilia Topuria beating Charles Oliveira, Volkanovski, Max Holloway too. Well, hold on a minute. That's Volkanovski coming off a KO to Islam Makhachev. That's Max Holloway that was just up at 155 and is now coming back down to 145 and was completely weight drained. Wasn't the same. That's why his chin looks so bad. And then he goes up to 155 and he beats Charles Oliveira, who wasn't even the actual champion at the time, and had just lost Armin Sarukian. Like, you can deconstruct that Ilia resume pretty quickly if you wanted to. Like, for the Ilia haters out there, I think that there's a good chance that, if Ilia loses a fight or two, people turn the tables on him really quickly. Really quickly. I don't know why my brain just fucking shut off halfway through. I started looking over at the Umar lacked experience in that fight. He had everything else. The thing he didn't have was unbroken bones. I think if he doesn't break his hand, he wins that fight, absolutely. Stephen Wonderboy versus MVP in the White House with karate rules, bare knuckle. Oh my god, bro. Imagine they bring bare knuckle into that shit too. We just go, fuck it. That could be the next step for combat sports. That could actually be the next step for combat sports. Because, like, I don't really think you could, well, technically you do, it's just on different platforms. But, like, the NBA and the NFL compete every night. They go back-to-back every night. Some nights you'll have a game before, a game after. Some nights you'll have, like, the Phoenix Suns, most of their games start at fucking 3 o'clock in the morning, so you'll have an NFL game before and an NBA game after. Why don't the UFC just do that, but just do it on cards? I don't think anybody loves MMA that much to the point where they'd be like, Muay Thai? No, I'm skipping this Muay Thai fight. I'm not watching this bitch-ass Muay Thai fight. This Muay Thai fight's gay. I don't think that anybody's going to do that. I think the same with kickboxing. Maybe with Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu and maybe with wrestling. Yeah, I can understand how people would want to skip those, or the UFC will be like, we're not putting those on a UFC main card. Everything that people love about the UFC is Muay Thai, is karate. Like, people don't like wrestling, at least a lot of the casuals, they don't like wrestling, they don't like Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Yeah, that's Muay Thai. That's boxing. That's kickboxing. Wasn't Walter Walker meant to fight? Yeah, his opponent pulled out like the day before or some shit. I can't remember what happened there. MVP said multiple times though he doesn't want to fight Izzy, Wonderboy, or Izzy. Yeah, that kind of sucks because they have so much respect for each other, but like that just would be a sick fight. Like that's one of those fights where it's like I kind of hope that they could go into it as friends, but those were friends fights end up being dog shit. They end up being glorified sparring matches where it's like, I want to go back and forth, but I don't really want to hurt you. I don't really want to KO you. So yeah, I'd kind of actually say stay away from those fights, and maybe if they do spar, we're gonna get like Instagram video or Twitter video or something. But I think if you put that on in the UFC, it's actually gonna end up not being as good of a fight as people actually want it to be. That sucks. Walter Walker, the GOAT's brother. Johnny Walker, one of the craziest upsets I've seen this year. Johnny Walker against Mingyang Zhang was like, holy fuck, man. How the fuck did that fight happen? That's just one of those things that shows you, like, the UFC, literally anything can happen. Legitimately anything can happen inside the UFC, and it's completely unpredictable. It's like I was talking to my cousin last week before that Alex Pereira Magno Ankalaev fight. He was texting me, and he was like, yo, bro, who should I pick this fight? Who should I pick? Who do you think's going to win? And my thought going into the fight was, I'd probably go Ankalaev, and I might pick him via sub. He got knocked out inside 90 seconds via KO. It's just impossible to pick. And all of my reasoning and all of my logic going into that, I didn't think was that bad. Alex Pereira gotten older. We saw him defend a bunch of takedowns in that first fight. Does he lean away from the takedowns now? Does he just go to being striking? Does he go to being offensive? I know that Ankalaev has no career submissions, but he is at least somewhat of a submission threat. He knows how to pull them off. And if he can take Alex Pereira down and get him in a compromising position, he might be able to do it. But I was completely wrong. I'm going to be honest, I thought Ank 50-45, like the UFC is just impossible to predict. It's impossible to predict. All of the things you think and all of your logic in picking somebody could be correct, and yet still, you're going to get shit wrong. You're probably going to be really, really wrong, and you're probably not going to know why you were wrong. And that's just how the UFC is. That's also why it's great. I'm so ashamed of not believing in Shama. Yeah, bro, I don't know what the fuck to believe with Alex Pereira. Some fights he looks unbelievable, some fights he just looks fucking dog shit. The fact that Alex Pereira developed an overhand at 38 is wild. He always had the right hand. I always thought that people kind of gassed the left hook, where they were like, Alex Pereira left hook, when really the right hand was kind of the punch that I feel like a lot of fighters at least were scared of. Justin Taffa versus Junior Taffa, Johnny versus Walter Walker in the White House, and the GOAT Shamil versus Sergey Pavlovich. Fuck it, let's do citizenship fights. Honestly, I don't think they'd be too far away from doing that shit. Get two Mexicans in there, have them scrap. Let's see how bad you want it. I'm fucking trolling. I'm trolling. God, calm down. I'm trolling. But I do think that shit would be funny. I do also need to see, I've said it so many times, bro, I need to see the reverse Dana White Contender Series. Have two fighters that are about to be cut fight each other, and just be like, winner stays in the UFC. Winner gets a new contract. That shit would be fucking sick. That would be like true BMF to the death type of fights. But yeah, not believing in Alex Pereira, there's not too much you can say that's wrong about that, you know what I mean? Like, I think that I didn't believe in Alex Pereira. I think there was good reason not to believe in Alex Pereira too. That version of Alex was just a nightmare. That version will fucking send anyone to the shop, to the tire shop for 2 or 3 years. The problem with that version of Alex Pereira is that it works really well against someone that's not going to shoot. If you just come forward, constant pressure against Tom Aspinall, I think he's just going to shoot, he's going to take him down, he's probably going to submit him. Do it with the women's MMA fighters, but don't make them fight. Instead, do a beauty contest. Donald Trump used to do that. Trump did used to judge beauty contests. He used to do like Miss Universe and Miss America or something like that. So he'd probably have a good eye for it. And honestly, I can't blame the guy. At least he's not, well, fuck. I was about to say at least not into no Epstein shit, but he could be. Fuck, who knows? Anyway, boys, I appreciate all the boys tuning in. The first of the post-fight event recaps. We'll be back next week. I'll sort out all the shit in the background. It'll look better. It'll be better. I promise you it'll be better. I have to do this fucking, like, kind of short notice. But I do appreciate all the boys coming in, showing love. I'll have a video going up tomorrow. Not on this, but I will have a video going up tomorrow. And I'm trying to get back into the flow of stuff. It just kind of pissed me off, the whole copyright strike stuff for 2 minutes, where I was like, the videos that I make on the UFC, don't get me wrong, I know I'm not fucking bringing in the UFC millions of dollars, but it is promoting the UFC, and for them to try, like, just fucking immediately kill my channel, no warning, no nothing, kind of pissed me off. So I'm trying to get back to making UFC videos more consistently, but it also just takes longer to edit them because I'm not using any UFC footage, and I used to use a lot of fight preview footage, where it's like Alex Pereira walking to the cage, or Alex Pereira holding the belt up, or whatever the fuck it is. So there is just kind of that thing of it taking longer to edit and me just not fucking with the UFC. Like, I still love the product. Do I love the company? No. But we'll figure it all out, all in due time. Appreciate all the boys for tuning in, showing love. And yeah, I'll catch you boys tomorrow.